Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So the Russos came out and said that after Captain America Civil War, Cap is not Cap anymore. So this is going to be a breakdown of what's going on. It's a big Easter egg for the comic books. Most of you are just like, what the hell is going on? No more Captain America. Well, one, you have to remember that this is technically the third Captain America movie. Remember what happened at the end of the third Iron Man movie? It was kind of a bookend for his character. He's like, Iron Man, no more. He rips the arc reactor out of his chest and throws it in the bay. But come to Avengers Age of Ultron, and look, it's Tony Stark with the newly christened Avengers Tower that they've been living in, going on missions all over the world. So it's almost like the end of the Iron Man trilogy was written to exist out of continuity, like kind of as its own thing beyond what's going on with the Avengers. So a little bit of that was happening with this third Captain America film, but originally it wasn't Civil War. It was like a completely different zombie storyline. So when Robert Downey Jr. got involved, they blew it up into Captain America Civil War, kind of like an Avengers movie, but still called a Captain America movie. They basically left it on a beat where Steve Rogers is a logical extension of the plot, is disillusioned with the government, and just puts the shield down and walks away. He becomes a fugitive, goes to the raft, frees his team, and then they just kind of ride off into the sunset. You're left to wonder what they're going to do. You know, very clearly they're still going to fight crime. They're going to do the things that they normally would do, but just under the radar. So it's kind of like a version of Secret Avengers, but Cap left his shield. He might not be wearing the uniform anymore, so he's kind of left the mantle for now. That doesn't mean that they'll never do another Captain America film. It just means that this is like the next logical step for his character, and something really big is going to have to happen to make him recommit to that. So I know there's been a lot of changes going on behind the scenes at Marvel Studios in the last year. They've kind of gone off as their own separate thing. Kevin Feige has a lot more control over them now. So a lot of people felt like before that happened, the conditions that the actors were working under weren't ideal, weren't as good as they could be. So now that it looks like they've sorted that all out, the Avengers that are getting ready for contract renewals are a lot more likely to renew their contracts and continue playing their characters in Marvel movies. But Phase 4 is going to look completely different than from what's come before. So while we might continue to see Captain America in the movies, he might get used in the same way that Iron Man is being used in the other Avengers films. Like there is no Iron Man 4 that they have on the books right now, but Robert Downey Jr. is all over a bunch of films. So just expect the same treatment for Captain America in the meantime. But that doesn't mean that they'll never do another Captain America solo film. But most of you have heard what the Russos said. They said that when Avengers Infinity War picks up, he won't be called Captain America. He'll just be like the Steve Rogers character. Now, I know in the comics, when he got disillusioned with the government, he took the nomad identity, he wore a different costume. I do think he'll definitely get a costume upgrade in Avengers Infinity War, maybe with a little help from Tony Stark on the side, you know, under the radar, because Tony Stark is still working with the government, or maybe from Black Panther, who has way more money than Tony Stark, but Cap is just going to be living under the radar when he's not with the Avengers, but obviously they're all going to meet up again. So even if they hadn't made all these big deals and they wouldn't have done Civil War, they still would have done the same thing with the character at the end of the third Captain America film. Just because, you know, who knew if Chris Evans was going to re-sign his contract, so they needed to give something of an end to that character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe without completely killing him off. So I would advise you to go back and rewatch the end of Iron Man 3, then watch Avengers Age of Ultron, and they don't address it at all, so it is a little bit funny. So what you'll probably see when Infinity War picks up, when we, hit all the beats with all the different characters, like look at what Cap has been doing this whole time. He'll just be helping people under the radar, taking down Hydra cells, helping people that need it, but also running from the government. They do a really good job of brushing over plot in the big Avengers films, like filling you in on backstory that's necessary and moving things along without getting bogged down. They said that that's one of the reasons why they're not introducing too many characters in Infinity War, because they already have so many that when they introduce somebody new, they have to include context for that. So like that's why they haven't done Red Hulk yet. Like Thunderbolt Ross is totally in the movies, they could totally do Red Hulk in the future, but in order to get that, you have to explain that the government has their own program on the side, and Thunderbolt Ross is part of that. So don't expect Red Hulk anytime soon, but he's totally fair game in the future. He's just an example. Like most of their time is going to be spent working on the characters they've already introduced. Captain Marvel is one of the few that they will introduce, but they haven't said whether or not she'll get her powers. I'm assuming she will towards the end of that film, and then when they pick up in the next Avengers film, the fourth Avengers film, it'll be like all new, all different Avengers. So they'll look very different. you'll have a post-Captain America Avengers. He might not rejoin the team, he might just continue being Steve Rogers, but I'm not really expecting him to call himself Nomad. But you can see how Captain Marvel is coming along, so there'll still be a captain in the Avengers, it just won't be Captain America, it'll be Captain Marvel. So yes, there will be more Steve Rogers, Chris Evans in the Marvel Universe, but he won't be calling himself Captain America, won't have the shield, won't have the uniform. So let me know, do you think that Chris Evans will re-sign his Marvel contract and they'll do another solo Captain America film during Phase 4? Or do you think they're going to focus more on developing new characters and just have Steve Rogers appear like guest star in other people's films in the way that Iron Man is going to guest star in Spider-Man Homecoming? Like sometimes you don't need to give him a solo film, you can just beef up somebody else's film by sticking them in it. So just a quick reminder that there's a new round of the Marvel giveaway that's going on right now. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. The Captain America Civil War DVD is coming out. They'll have a whole bunch of bonus features. They've got all kinds of deleted scenes, so we'll definitely do a breakdown of that stuff whenever it drops next week. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for my Thor Ragnarok behind the scenes video, and you can click here for my breakdown of the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 scene that they released. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody, let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.